Hi, my name is Teresa Valentino, and I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse, and I run a DIY mental health blog at teresavalentino.com. And I've been having a rough week with depression and despair. Like, it's one of those things I just noticed that no matter what a great job I do staying in therapy and keeping it positive, doing the best that I can to take care of myself and feel good about my life every day, all day long, it's really all I do. I'm disabled now, so it's really all I do. And even so, even, as much effort as I put into being happy and being grateful all the time, I get just gripped with despair, you know what I mean? Where the world does not feel like it's worth fighting for. Like, I don't actually, there's no end game to it for me. Like, most of the people that I encounter are just awful. If I didn't know better, I would think I was invisible half the time. At the same time, people are quick to criticize me for being way too large. So I am both overly large and yet completely invisible. It's the strangest thing. Um, but yeah, this despair situation that I had this weekend, I feel really good about it in a few ways because I didn't really fight it, but I also didn't succumb to it, okay? I did not allow myself to freak out and panic about stuff, even though I had some scary things happen. And I didn't get into what they call subjective distress, which is when you get upset just about how awful everything is and how upsetting it is and how far it knocks you off your game, right? Like when you first start to remember, like for me, when I first started to remember my childhood abuse, I was almost 30. I was like 27-ish, I guess. And just the fact of how intrusive it was, like recalling the body pains and the flashbacks and then having to piece it all together intellectually and try to figure out the specific different incidents that happened, that was just brutal. And then I had the subjective distress where it was like, wow, man, my days are just not my own. Like, I'm bombarded with awful memories and psychosomatic body pains, and then I'm dealing with my butthead family that I had to get away from to save my own life. It was rough. It was really bad. So, but I learned that like subjective distress is optional and you can't really screw with it. So, if you are having a bumpy ride like I've been for the last week, do the best that you can with your self care. As I said in another video to reader Sandy, you do need to be in therapy because, like, I've been working on this stuff for 25 years, and over the course of the past week, nothing really major happened. I mean, I had to give up on the idea of getting physical therapy at the swimming pool. I had a little medical situation that I'm not sure if it's an emergency or not. I don't know, but I don't feel very great. But anyway, I don't need to get into the subjective distress about it because even though I did all the right things, my mindfulness, my breathing, my self-care, even so, I was thinking about suicide all weekend. And I'm not going to do it, you know what I mean? But something did happen where I found my mind, like I was doing my meditation, and I found my mind just kind of wandering to, if I were going to kill myself, I would use a gun. I would get the biggest one that I could get, and I would have to research on exactly which part of my skull would be the thinnest, and that's how I would handle it. But, I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to, you know what I mean? So that's one of those things that could be really subjectively distressing when you find yourself making a plan for suicide because you are in despair again. So I just want to say that, like, my mood is already lifted a lot, and, I just kind of had to ride this out. And then I have a qualified doctor that I'm going to go see tomorrow, a mental health worker, a therapist. She'll probably see me twice this week when I tell her how bad it was. But the important thing I want to say is, like, just don't judge your experience and don't freak out about the fact that you're having a really unpleasant experience. The subjective distress just makes everything twice or three times as difficult, and you can really just choose not to suffer as much about it. You know what I mean? It's just a simple choice, and for me, it's really the only logical way because I just don't have it in my mental health budget to stress out about stuff that is gonna pass. You know what I mean? You just have to, like, just like being attacked. If I mean, God forbid, I wish nobody would ever be sexually assaulted again. But if you do, I mean, the best thing until you can run away is just keep breathing, just close your eyes, try to breathe as much as you can, and just wait. So, Yeah, so anyway, just don't get upset. Like if you're having really unpleasant suicidal type thoughts or something, definitely you need to talk to a professional. And don't freak out about it, because it doesn't feel like it's in my control, because it's not something I want to think about. It's not something I like to think about. It's not a plan that I'm making. But just to be on the safe side for myself, because my moods do fluctuate so wildly, I have to tell my therapist about it. So it's, I just want to say, I've come to think of this after this last week, that, my depression, and especially the despair portion of it, the part that makes me not want to live anymore because it's too difficult and painful, and there's just not enough payback in it for me. That is almost like, I'm starting to look at it as if I was exposed to the herpes virus as a small child, right? It's like an illness that cycles back around, and it can really make your life miserable while you're having it, and you'll have flare-ups every now and again. And like over the years of working so much, so hard on it, like I've got it to the point where it's more, I don't know, closer to manageable, like a lot more manageable, where I'm actually like, I guess that's what is a little striking to me about this past week, is that I was in such great control of it, even while I was not in control of it at all. You know what I mean? Like I was in control about how much I was going to suffer about it. I was in control about like not being afraid to have my own experience. That might be probably the biggest thing that I did right. Like just any kind of thoughts of suicide for me, terrifying idea, because I've really had to fight so hard to not go there. So, and I don't want to, but like pretending that things aren't happening, I don't think is good. So I hope once again that if you are watching my channel, that that you are in therapy, because you deserve it. You know what I mean? People just have no idea how great therapy is. Again, if you need to do the frog kissing thing and feel around, go make appointments with different people and see how it goes and see which one you connect with. As soon as you find somebody you feel like you can trust enough to talk to, please do it. Because, that's your best life raft, man. That's your best. It's like being on the Titanic. My life is kind of like the Titanic. I want the life raft. I'm not fucking around. I see people around me just paying so little attention to their lives, and I don't know, their lives must have no meaning whatsoever, but it freaks me out. So I like to live the life that I like to live. So anyway, thank you for watching. I would love to hear about your experiences with depression. Have I convinced you to go to therapy? How do you feel about my herpes analogy, that it's just one of those things I'm going to have for the rest of my life because it just happened and that's it? Somebody exposed me to it and now it's my problem, so the rest of my life here I'm going to deal with it. Oh well, and it kind of helps me, realize that like herpes, it's going to pass and you don't actually die from it. I mean, with PTSD you can, but if I think about it as herpes, then I will think about it as something that may be just awful and I wish I didn't have to deal with, but it won't kill me. So all right, ladies and germs, please comment, rate, like, and check me out at teresavalentino.com.